I love quesadillas. Simple reason is you can put whatever you choose in the filling. It can be grilled vegetables, it can be goat's cheese, it can be butternut squash, and it doesn't matter, it can be anything. I've gone with the mozzarella, cumin, coriander mix, but for me, the best part about this whole dish is the pico de gallo with the fresh tomato salsa. Just ripe tomatoes, red onion, lime juice, that lovely citrus afterbite. You can't go wrong. So again, you know, make this one, make whatever one you have, whatever's in the fridge. Let the fillings, just let your imagination go wild. Okay, first things first, I'm going to take a cooked chicken. Simple, simmered in a pot, a little bit of wine, a little bit of water, about 10 to 12 minutes, or you can pan fry it, finish in the oven, 180, same length of time. Okay, I'm going to cut it up, nice and rough, doesn't have to be overly tidy. One breast is going to do 2 to 3 quesadillas. Again, there's a lot going on in there, the coriander, the cheese, and then with the salsa. So again, a little goes a long way. So as far as budgetary constraints, this dish is fantastic. Into our bowl, I'm going to add here now is a little bit of grated mozzarella and cheddar blend. Try to stay away from heavy cheese like a strong cheddar, mature cheddar, because you really want the flavour of the chicken and the cumin and coriander coming out, and that's best served by using a nice mild mozzarella. Now, when it comes to cumin, a little goes a long way, but this is the one dish where I tend to use a little bit more than what you normally would, okay? So we'll add in a nice little dusting, probably 1 full tablespoonful. Give that a wee mix and give another little brash in there, okay? Give it another little mix, and that's perfect. Set that aside a wee second, and we're just going to take some fresh coriander leaves. Now, I'm going to take about 1/4 of a bunch, just going to break it off roughly, set that back, and then key thing with any herbs is to keep them whole right up until the point where you're going to add them to any dish you're using. So again, don't worry about a little bit of the stock. Bunch them up, nice and tidy, and a nice quick little chiffonade like so. Straight bang into our mix, bring our bowl back up, and just gently fold it right in. So already you're going to see like the volume of mixture that we're getting here, okay? So from about 200 grams of cheese, that's easily going to do 2 well-packed quesadillas, okay? So I have here then, it's about a 9-inch flour tortilla, okay? I'm going to turn on our pan. I have that on there now. You want the pan to be hot, but not smoking hot as if you would have it cooking a steak. You just want it to be warm, because the one thing about the flour tortillas is they do tend to burn quite quickly. So I'm just going to add that to the heat, just dry for 5 or 6 seconds. It's just going to soften it up, because whenever I fold the tortilla, I don't want it to crack, I don't want it to break, okay? So then, on with our mix. The key thing here is just treat it half moon. You want 1/2 of the tortilla full with your mixture, and you want the other half completely empty, okay? No oils, no nothing, no filling. Flip it over like so, pressing down. Now it's going to be slightly open at the edges. Don't worry about that, because as the cheese melts and it gets hot, that'll kind of come together, and the cheese is going to act as a little binder for us, okay? So then, tiny little bit of olive oil, rapeseed oil, whatever you have in the house is fine. Vegetable oil will work. Flip it over. Tiny little bit of oil again. And just gently rub. Now you want to try and have a little film of oil, really, really light, all the way over the surface area of the tortilla. Otherwise, it'll stick on you, okay? So into a pan. Now, there's the slightest little sizzle there, and that's exactly what you're looking for. You don't want it to be too cold. It's going to stick to the pan. You're never going to get it off there. Equally, if it's too hot, tortilla cooks too quick, and you're not going to get flipping it without burning it. So we'll leave that on a medium to high heat. We'll just give it about 1 minute. Okay, so just coming over to give it a wee check. In with a flat spatula, flick it over. And there's no colour on it yet, but I just want to get a judge. You're far better to get a wee judge of the temperature here now. Get it on. I'm going to turn it up slightly. In with an extra little bit of oil. Get a nice little bit of rub there. Just be careful with the heat. Now obviously the pan's getting hotter and hotter all the time, so you don't want to give it a full minute now on this side, okay? The key thing is to leave it on there, work it and move it every 30 to 40 seconds, okay? Okay, and now just to check that side, turn it over. That's perfect. So already now we're just starting to get that little bit of a toasted, crusty edge to it. It's starting to colour, and that's just exactly what we're looking for. A tiny little bit of oil again on it. Okay, and we'll give it one last turn, and that's perfect. Now we're just looking for that nice brown colour, and straight into the oven. Gas off, and now we're just going to work on the salsa. Okay, so we're going to use for this is a little bit of red onion, about a half a red onion, not even a quarter of a red onion is probably loads. So keeping the root on the onion, cutting right through the root, and that's what's going to keep the onion together when it comes to chopping. Okay, so the natural lines then are in the onion. We're keeping the root, as we say, straight through. Going along with the lines, cutting underneath. So I'm just going to be making enough salsa for, I suppose, for just the one person. So as I say, a quarter of the onion into the bowl. And then we're going to take a heirloom tomato, go straight through the middle, cut it into a quarter, pull out the seed and the wedge. Now the quesadilla, we want to have it about 180. It's going to take about 2-3 minutes. You can make the salsa a day before. It's even better. Let it sit there in the herbs if you're not comfortable. But again, I suppose force the habit. I can put it in there 2-3 minutes to make the salsa. But again, this works lovely. 2-3 days in the fridge, no problem. It's perfect. I'm going to dice that up. I'm going to take another piece of that. Now, what you want to be looking for there is nice, soft, ripe red tomatoes, okay? And the oblong shape in these here, like these heirloom tomatoes that you'll get all over the country in the summertime, fantastic. Dice that up. And again, the seeds and the cores you can keep, add them to soups, throw them together, stick them in the freezer, build them up over time, and just finish some soups with them. Beautiful. So a little bit of fine sea salt, a little bit of ground white pepper, and some lime juice, okay? Now again, we've often said it, 10 seconds in the microwave, soften that up. We've not enough to make it hot, but just enough to soften it. Just makes it a wee bit easier. If you find sometimes in the stores they're a wee bit hard, that's a lovely little trick just to use, okay? So I'm going to put in the juice of a full lime. This dish it's just beautiful with that lovely fresh lime flavour. So don't be afraid to stick in plenty. And again, going back to the coriander, you definitely need coriander in a mix. If you have basil, you can mix and match. The coriander works really well within the quesadilla, but coriander or basil will be beautiful here in the salsa. So then dice that up, nice little chiffonade, and then in with some olive oil. You can use rapeseed oil. I just find a lovely high quality olive oil for this dish is ideal. So give it a wee mix. Little taste. Needs a little bit more acid for me. Again, personal taste. If you find it needs it. If you find that you go too far with the lime juice, you can add a little bit of extra onion, a little bit of extra tomato, and some seasoning. So we set that aside, and we just go back to our quesadilla. Okay, so that's perfect now. That's exactly what we've been looking for. Straight onto the board. Cut right through the middle. Cut it into quarters. Take over a plate. And again, you can cut them smaller if you're doing it for kids, you're doing it for family. Cut them into 6 or 8. If you want a little pre-dinner, little snack, works just equally as well like that. And spoon on or pico de gallo or fresh tomato salsa. And then finish that with a tiny dollop of thick set sour cream. And there you have chicken, cumin, coriander quesadillas with pico de gallo and sour cream. A lovely little summer dish.